almost like holy cow. So he says, I'm going to bring 15 people in or 13 people in, and I'm going to convince 4 of them to rob an armored car. I'm never going to talk about robbing armored cars. I'm never going to make no suggestions about it whatsoever, but I will get them to do it. So I'm watching this program. I'm like, interesting. And it starts out, it's like the Wall Street of Britain. And he's a really good showman. He really knows how to, he gets your attention really quick. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch this. By the end of the program, 3 out of the 4 people did do an act as if they thought that was an armored car. He convinced them through suggestions, and it was brilliant how he does it, that they want to rob that armored car. They'll get away with it. And he had all these triggers that were set on the street. There was a poster that said, just do it.
I think I've seen some of his stuff. Yes.
A car drives by. Can you feel it?
Yes.
Can you feel it? And all this stuff. And I'm like, at the end of the program, I'm staring at the screen and I'm thinking, I would have been one of the 3. I go, whatever mind control. I am socially engineered. I know it. I cannot explain to you how I'm being socially engineered. I have no idea how it's being done. But holy shit, what I just saw, I would have probably done that. Maybe I would. I don't consider myself like robbing stuff, so I don't know if I would. Maybe I wouldn't have been the one that before that he selected.
That might not have resonated for you.
That may not, but I would have responded to the way that these people were responding to the proper stimulus. So that very day, I said, I'm going to learn whatever this is. I want to learn this and understand it. And that brought me right into the world of hypnosis and neuro-linguistic programming and influence and persuasion. I studied all the different things. I just looked at what are all these different types. There's people for men to feel confident around women. There's stuff for women to feel confident around men. There's stuff for just hypnosis,
weight loss,
limiting
public speaking, all the stuff.
Anything and everything you can imagine. I'm like,
so I want to interject and ask, you weren't interested in mind control for getting people to do silly things like rob banks and jump up and down and take their clothes off and do random silly stuff. Why was that so powerful though in that? And then what did that inspire your thinking of, like, what I could do if I knew how to do these things?
I was looking at it from the perspective of the way that we're being affected by advertisements, the way that we're being affected in language. I had grown up, for 10 years, my dad's very Catholic. So he had all these books about Catholic mysticism, and I digested this stuff like a decade. It wasn't really stuff that normie Catholics read. It was,
right.
And because I had this fascination, I remember when I was in the military, I remember wanting to know God. I don't know how to explain it any other way.
Ditto.
Just had no. I remember I got on my knees at my bunk in the dorm room, and I remember I go, if you're real, I want to believe in you. What's the deal? And the long and short of it, I've discovered through my own understanding, it's within us. I don't know how to explain it any other way. If you hear these words and you understand it, you know it's within you.
Yes.
And there's nobody can explain it to you. You have the understanding of you have the realization, right, whatever. It could be decades of awful experiences, traumatic experiences, all kinds of stuff. Doesn't matter what. But ultimately, I came to the conclusion, just like all these people I was studying, and that's the thing, Cammie. Like, I would study like religious, not too much religious, like different religions, maybe Buddhism. I was kind of interested in that a little bit. Christian, I don't like people are arguing on this. You're going to go to hell. That I'm not interested in, because that's not really.
Neither am I. Right.
Yeah, it's something.
We're on the same. Yeah, and I went to Catholic school and had some of those same things, right? Where it was like I wasn't feeling that connection. I wasn't feeling that relationship. I was like, all of these things seem outside of me, and there's all these rules, and it just didn't make sense to me. And I was always asking questions, and they would just be like, "Stop asking these questions and just accept this." And I didn't have a heartfelt connection to Christ or God or Mary or the saints. It just didn't make sense to me.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I'm studying this stuff, hypnosis, NLP, spiritual readings. My mind is just because belief, the power of belief.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, wow, I felt like I had my own things that I could take care of. I don't want to get pilled up. I
Mm-hmm.
don't. It's just like that. It's fine for a short period of time, but long term, it's not a great strategy for sleeping or being
Right.
anxious or upset. It's an upsetness. It's an upsetness. That's all it is. Resolve the upsetness. The pills, like my Uncle Roy would say, when do you take an aspirin, Jerry? He says, when you have a headache. You don't take one when you don't have a headache.
Mm-hmm.
So he would say things like that to me. I knew him when I was about 25, 26. I met him. But so I was in Saudi Arabia. There was an incident, and it was had the indicators of PTSD. When I came back, it didn't. Here's the thing: when I went to Saudi Arabia, when I got to Saudi Arabia, it's just think of like Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Just get that vibe.
Yeah, I'm
and
there.
Then you go into the city, like this. I don't know if it was Riyadh or Dhahran, one of those. And I walked into town and it was like that. But there was buildings and they had these British posters for Rolex watches and all these cruises. And I was like, it's weird.
Yeah.
Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah. A weird disconnect.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I was there for about 9 months, come back and had almost like culture shock. Everything is fake when I come back.
Yes.
I don't know how to explain it. It's all artificial.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was aware of the artificialness, but in time of coming back to the United States, got familiarized, but didn't have the shock going there.
Mm-hmm.
Going there, it was more natural. Like they're even kind of like Prayaski, well, Saudi Arabia, the part I was in, it's ugly. I'm not going to lie to you. It's brutally ugly, and it stinks. Like the air stinks with whatever. So, where was I going with that?
But there's not lots of billboards and signs. Like Prescott is different even than Phoenix in that we don't have billboards all over the place.
As much,
signs and advertising all over. Yeah, a little bit, but not much.
So 10 months in, back in the United States, I'm working a job. I'm in the office. Someone slams a door and I jumped hard. And I went, holy shit, what just happened? And the person looked across from me. They didn't jump. And I said, hey, I'm really sorry about that. I got startled. And inside of myself, I felt the shit that happened this morning in Saudi Arabia. It all flooded back. It was anger and fear. And in a split second, just kicked to life. And then I noticed that when doors would slam, I was jumping. The other people weren't jumping. The best I could describe the sound to you, even though the door was in the other room, and I know that the door in the other room, it would sound like, the steel dumpsters and it's got the metal lid. It's like you just kind of put your head there and someone just slammed it without letting you know.
Yes.
And so that was probably one of the things that I wanted to deal with looking with the hypnosis stuff. Like, I'm like, this is not, I'm fucking pissed off. And
you don't want to live your life like that.
At the same time, in a split second, it's like inappropriate. It's not proper. My safety isn't, if the safety was in question, you would respond to, I mean, look, if someone smashes into the door in a room that we're in, we're going to jump.
Right.
And we get into fight or flight, but this the thoughts and then getting upset at myself for getting upset, and it's really.
And how long would some of those spirals last, where you were getting anxious from the trigger? Could it last? It was just a few minutes.
It was just a few minutes, but then I got to tell you about my Uncle Roy, because the hypnosis, learning about seeing Darren Brown and my Uncle Roy kind of both tune in together really well. I'll be really, really brief. I'm 25 years old. I meet my Uncle Roy for the first time, and I'm hearing this man speak. He's probably in his 70s, 75, and he's got this beautiful white curly hair. He's Jewish, and I'm not Jewish, but he's Jewish, and he's my uncle. I don't know. And he's got this British accent. So it's really interesting. And he speaks and he uses words I ain't never heard speak with that kind of words.
Right.
And he's talking about love and consciousness and these other things, resentment and anger. And he teaches me this. And he says to me, so I'm listening to him talk this one day. And I said, Uncle Roy, I want to learn the truth. Because remember, 7 years before, I was saying this prayer, God, please let me understand, whatever. So here's Uncle Roy. And I'm like, Uncle Roy, I want to learn the truth. He goes, oh, Jerry, you want to learn the truth, huh? I said, yes, Uncle Roy. And I am like chomping at the bit. I'm like, he is going to tell me what he knows. He goes, the first truth you're going to learn, Jerry, is the ugly truth about yourself.
Shadow work.
Do not do not resent, do not resist what you see, and it will fall away instantly, because you will be witnessing yourself through divine eyes. I think he said through the eyes of the Holy Spirit. And when he said that to me, time stopped. It literally, I went into a coma. It's
super trance. Yeah, he just dropped some cosmic wisdom right on your lap.
And I know he knew what
he's sure. Yeah.
I am like eyes open, and in my mind, I'm seeing all these things coming up in my mind.
Like
and
what?
I'm testing to see if what he said is true, but instantaneously. And things coming up, habits that I had that fell away. And I go, yeah, that used to bother me. And I stopped being bothered by it, and it's no longer a problem. All these different things. Oh yeah, I don't think about that anymore. I'm done with that. And then a couple things came up, and I go, wow, he's right. I resent these things. The problem is I'm upset at it. It doesn't matter if it's you or me. It's the situation. It's in some way upsetting. That really was an eye-opener. And and he told me one other thing. And I believe that those two things are what I use when I'm working with people, my clients. 100%. It's got to be 100% with people. So he says to me, fear and anger are two sides of the same coin. And I'm thinking, there's no way. I'm pissed right now when he's talking to me. And he goes, oh, yeah. I go, there's no way, Uncle Roy. I go, when I'm mad, I ain't angry. I ain't afraid of that thing. I'm pissed off. He goes, all right, Jerry. He goes, I want you to think about something or someone that you feel anger towards. And that's all he said. And someone came to mind. And as I'm thinking about this person, I'm getting pissed off. And I ask myself the question, am I afraid about this person in some way? And I thought, oh my God, if what they say about that person is true, it's the most terrifying thing imaginable to me. I was sold on Uncle Roy at that point. I'm like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
It says you have to give up one and the other one will go. And I find for myself is to give up the upsetness. It comes a little quicker to not, like, someone makes a mistake, not asshole, idiot, stupid F, whatever. Whatever.
You can say that stuff. You can say whatever you want. It's all good.
Say whatever, yeah. And it's like catching that, because he said you can't get angry about anything anymore and you'll be fine. I'm like, good luck with that.
Yeah,
one.
exactly. Yeah. Where's that remedy? Yeah.
Consciousness, right? Exactly. So Uncle Roy and Darren Brown and that dropped me into the world of Richard Bandler and neurolinguistic programming and John Grinder and that the study of excellence, that these were, one guy was a computer programmer, Dr. Richard Bandler. He figured out how to program programs to program other programs. And he says, hey, can I get a person to program another person by modeling the right way to do it?
And tell us what NLP is for people who don't know what NLP is.
it's the study of excellence,
Mm-hmm.
and it's called neuro-linguistic programming.
Mm-hmm.
And